User interface trends in 2022. Yes, it's 2022 already, and let's have a look at some of the UI trends we expect to see in the coming year. I'm Mac Race, Managing Director of Flying Donkey. Let's get into it. Alright, before I jump into this video, I want to ask if this is of value to you, please hit the subscribe and like buttons below. Or if there's something else you'd like me to cover, please comment below and I'm happy to address it. Alright, user interface design. Before we jump into the trends for 2022, let's have a quick look at what user interface design is and why user interface design is very important. User interface design is essentially the colors, text, animation, layout of both your website and applications that conveys to your customers your brand, how to use your product, and the ease of use in which that comes. User interface design is essentially meant to be transparent in the fact that it should seamlessly work with your application and almost get out of the way of the user. An easy way to put this is, if no one is complaining about your site, then user interface design must be good. Essentially, user interface design is facilitating the rest of your website. It should simply get out of the way and allow your user to get in and do what they need to do. This obviously tells you why it's important. If you have bad user interface design, no matter how good your application is or how good your product or service is, someone may already write you off just because it doesn't look good to them. There's something wrong and they feel like something's off, and that may only be the text or the colors or the layout. And this is where user interface design is critical to get right and make sure that you're on trend and not sticking out from the crowd. All right, let's jump into the trends for 2022. And the first one off the rank is dark mode. Dark mode has been in and out of trends over the many years, but it's coming in for 2022. A quick look at the Apple site, particularly on the AirPods, shows this really white and black dark mode contrast that Apple's gone with to really bring professionalism and class to their site. At the same time, it also has some practical usages, particularly in mobile phone scenarios, where dark mode uses less battery because you're powering on less pixels, while at the same time giving that classy and premium look. I foresee plenty more sites this year using dark mode or going more dark in their tones to really jump on this bandwagon. Right, number 2, neomorphism or a soft UI. This one might be hard to explain, and we're going to put a couple of images below and also on the blog that accompanies this, but essentially speaking, you generally put images on a background. But in this case with neomorphism, you're placing them behind the background. It may mean that the image is submerged or softer in appearance, and that's really what you're going for here. You're trying to make a seamless, simple looking, approachable UI design, and neomorphism is really taking that to the design language. It is becoming very popular and it's very easy on the eye. Bold typography. Now this could be potentially a video all on its own, and I don't profess to being a UI design expert, but typography is really important to your website. Picking the right fonts, sizing, scales is all really important for the look and feel of your website. Bold typography is something we're seeing emerge towards the late part of 2021, where text in bold, straight lines in large font faces is becoming very common for a lot of consumer-facing brands. It's really about stripping back the sites and make them look minimal, while trying to use the text that you've got in a strong, bold way. And this is what we're seeing with these large, bold text usages. Again, I expect this to continue through 2022, where we're trying to strip back and look minimal on the designs, and we're trying to use what assets we have in front of us. Animations. This trend's really been happening for the last few years, but it's going to become more and more prevalent as we move forward. People want to see things moving and interacting with them on a website because it gives them a better feel for what's going on. Simple, smooth animations that engage with the user makes them respond better to the website and therefore potentially convert better overall. Animations is a growing trend and I can see it growing for the next few years, but it's key to keep in mind you don't want to overdo your animations or simply start doing videos all over your website. You want to add them nicely and minimally, essentially accentuating some of the areas that would otherwise be fairly flat and plain. 3D. This one's probably more for specific industries, but potentially 3D is becoming more and more common as we look towards virtual reality and more 3D modeling. Now I'll touch on those in a bit later, but essentially for 3D, you're looking for use of 3D models in your website to give users a really key way to show things. Some of the trends here are definitely within construction and architecture, where they're able to export really great models and use them on their websites to show end users really clearly what they're building. Enabling users to spin, move, and rotate really gives them to dive in and engage with the content, and 3D modeling allows people to do this. At the same time, this has become a lot simpler. So to implement this 5 to 10 years ago was very, very challenging and near impossible to actually get into a browser. Putting these 3D models into the browser these days is becoming more common, and therefore I expected a trend to continue through 2022. Augmented and virtual reality. While this is not really a UI design trend, it is something to keep in mind when you're designing pages going forward. With augmented reality and virtual reality become more and more commonplace, you have to understand that your pages will be interacted with in potentially different ways. Dealing with a website in augmented reality is slightly different to dealing with it on a flat screen, and so design changes will have to be done here. I think this space will continue to evolve over the coming year, and I'm interested to see how these trends play out. But what I do know is that augmented reality and virtual reality are here, and we will see these trends emerge in the coming years. I hope that gives out an idea for the coming trends of user interface design for 2022. Here at Flying Donkey, we employ a number of designers, and we keep them up to speed with the current trends in the market. We use market-leading design tools to make sure that clients have a user interface that both communicates their brand, but also communicates that they are on the leading edge of technology and have an excellent product underneath the hood. It's important to keep in mind that trends are that, and that they are trends, and they're important to integrate into your website, but remember there are always core components that you need to keep. Here at Flying Donkey, we can assist you with your user interface design, and we can get you chatting with one of our designers. If you need assistance in some of these areas, feel free to reach out.